Credit Repair for Dummies. And of course, I'm not calling you a dummy, but I'm gonna dumb it down for you. What up? You got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video, I want to talk about credit repair for dummies. Simplifying this whole credit thing in order to make you have an understanding of credit to where you can break it down, and even a kid who comprehends well can understand it and get it. So that being said, let's talk about it. Now, what I want you to first and foremost do is make sure you do not leave this video without clicking the available link below, because we have a free credit class that definitely is the credit repair or credit for dummies. Because if you understand how credit works and the formulas that go into it, then it automatically positions you to be smarter than 80% of the people who are even dealing with credit. It's a lot of people who use credit every day but have little to no understanding of how credit works. That free credit repair class, or that free credit class, allows you to get an understanding of that, so you can know what to do in terms of bettering your credit. And if you need assistance or want a system that can help you better credit by doing it yourself and getting access to the letters and everything, that link in the bio will also take you there as well, and you can just kind of take your pick and see what best fits you. But nonetheless, this is what you got to understand about credit repair in a whole, in a way that makes you educated by the time you leave this video. I want you to leave this video and be like, oh, that's it. I know what to do to better my credit. I know what's being factored in, because a lot of people are one-trick ponies. What do I mean? That means they focus on one thing in order to hopes that they can fix their credit. But if you just focus on one factor as it relates to the credit, you're going to leave 65% or more on the table, that, or 65% of the points on the table that you didn't tap into because you're focused on one thing. What I would like people to understand is the holistic side of credit. 5 factors as it relates to your credit. Let's dive into it. And I broke this down in several different videos, but people can never hear it enough, because the more you hear it, the more it starts to get ingrained in your mind, and you start to realize that, hey, I know this, I've memorized this, and I feel like everyone should commit this to memory, almost like you know your ABCs. There's 26 of them. Well, it's only 5 factors of credit, so that means you can do it. That being said, let's go. Number 1 is payment history. Everybody knows what payment history is by definition, or just based on what it's saying at first, but very few people realize what they need to do in order to maximize the points that come along with payment history. As it relates to payment history, that's 35% of your score. What is payment history? Payment history is the ability to pay things on time, and it's a historical record of your ability to do so. If you've been paying things on time, of course, you'll get the max amount of points. If you had some late payments in the past, of course, that chips away at that 35% of the points that go into payment history affecting your credit score. That's 192.5 points that you can get if your payment history is flawless. But if it's been tampered with or damaged in some way, shape, or form, then 192.5 points is further away, so you get less of those points. So the goal is to maximize how many points of the 192.5 can you get from payment history, whether that's making sure from this day forward you pay all things on time, especially if it's reporting to your credit report, but get in the habit of doing everything, so that way you're not worried about which one is reporting and which one is not. But if you've had some previous late payments, then you need to figure out how you can either get those updated to positive, removed, goodwill letters to kind of negotiate with the bureaus in order to make sure that they update it to positive. So just kind of understand that, or negotiate with the creditors. The goodwill letters goes directly to the creditors. So make sure that you get on top of that payment history, due to the fact that that's 192.5 points that may be being left on the table. The second factor is credit utilization. That's dealing with credit cards and lines of credit. It's great to have a credit card, but it's greater to know how to use the credit card, because the credit card can be detrimental, but it can be very beneficial if you understand how to use it. With credit cards, I prefer unsecured cards, but sometimes people have to start with a secured card, then segue themselves into an unsecured card. However, that doesn't always have to be the case. If you have established some type of positivity on your profile and you've gotten your credit to a decent place, then it may be a good time to attempt to apply for an unsecured credit card, especially if it's one that does like a pre-approval, which is, kind of what we recommend. So that way it doesn't ding your credit as it would as if it was just a typical hard inquiry. But let's talk about the credit utilization. That's the one you have the most control over. That's 30% of your score. 30% of your score is based on how well you're utilizing your credit cards or lines of credit. So that being said, what that means is, are you maxing out your credit cards? If so, you get a negative report for that. That basically hurts your credit score if you're maxing the cards out. Ask me how I know. In addition to that, if you're keeping a low balance, then that helps your credit score. So you get graded based on the utilization. The lower the utilization, the more points you get from it in many cases. So the goal on credit utilization is to have less than 10% utilization. Single digits as it relates to how much of a balance you're carrying. What that looks like is if you have a credit card and let's just say it's $1,000 credit limit, you want to stay under $100. So $90 is about what you should be carrying as a balance. Basically, when that credit card company reports to the bureaus on your credit card statement date, you need to have that balance under 10%. Beyond that, you can use it, run it up, but make sure you know by that statement date that you had a utilization low, and you'll get a great score because of it. And you can pretty much get as many of the 165 points that's available because you're fully in control. Now, there are some things that may not make you get the full 165, but for the most part, you're 100% in control in that area if you just understand how to properly utilize it. Factor number 3 is credit history. That's just basically the age of your credit. If your credit had a date of birth, how old would it be? From the initial date you start using your credit, that's when the clock starts ticking. Now, we know if you get certain things deleted, then that changes your credit age a bit. But usually credit history comes from time. So you got to make sure that you get in the game long enough so that the credit history benefits you to whatever degree that it benefits you. And that's about 15% of your score. Now, sometimes there are strategies you can use to get credit history, but we recommend that if you're going to use this strategy, that it comes from family members or somebody that you know is taking good care of their credit. And that's if they was to sign you as an authorized user. We don't necessarily recommend trade lines for various reasons, different video, but nonetheless, that's how you will go about doing it. But the best way to do it is just develop it over time, especially if you're of age. But that credit history strategy of getting an authorized user is powerful when done correctly, and when the person who adds you as an authorized user is taking great care of their credit as well. Number 4 is new credit. What have you done over the past 2 years that justifies that you deserve to have a great credit score? So that includes a factor in of all of the things. How your payments been for the last couple of years? Do you have too many inquiries? Those inquiries are a big part of the new credit. How have you been keeping that utilization now? So it kind of bundles up a lot of those things over your past 2 years to determine how many points you get from that area. That's 10% of your score. Last but not least, credit mix. They want to know that you're able to handle different types of debt. Are you great with credit cards, as we discussed? But let's look at the auto loans, mortgages, personal loans, or if you use one of our tools, which is called Save Money Build Credit. You can click that same link in the bio, click on the link that says Save Money Build Credit. This allows you to start getting some positive things reporting to your profile. Once those things report to your profile, it helps you across all 3 bureaus. Now, I will say this works best for people who probably have a lot of negatives on their report and they need some good positives report. This helps. This also helps for a person who doesn't have much on their profile and they just need something to start reporting so they can start getting credit. And this allows them to start getting in the game of credit without having to go into debt. So it helps for those 2 people. And it helps for a person who might have established some credit, but they just haven't done anything recently. Like in the last 2 years, they haven't really done anything to help get their credit a little boost or a little nudge. And they may want to say, you know what, I do need some new credit. Let me go ahead and use this Save Money Build Credit process that Mr. Smith is talking about and use it to their advantage. Everybody doesn't necessarily need it, but it's a huge chunk of people who do. Link in the bio, it says Save Money Build Credit. That's new credit, and that's 10% of your score, 55 points that comes from that alone. Well, credit mix, my bad, I'm still on credit mix. But credit mix is having a diversified portfolio. So when you have credit cards and you incorporate installment loans, such as car notes, personal loans, mortgages, things of that nature, then you benefit from credit mix. So what the Save Money Build Credit allows you to do is, instead of you borrowing or getting into a loan, or instead of you even doing a credit builder loan, it operates like a credit builder loan that you can do with the banks by putting up your own money. It operates very similar to that. Instead of you having to get any type of new debt, student loans fall into installment loan category as well. But instead of you having to get into debt and having to owe somebody, you can take as little as $25 and start paying it on a monthly basis, and it reports to all 3 bureaus, which helps with your credit mix. My bad, I record a lot of back-to-back videos, but you get the point. You get the point, as long as you got the message. But this is Credit Repair for Dummies. Basically, you understanding those 5 factors no longer makes you a dummy. You're not a dummy when it comes to credit if you can just memorize those 5 factors and get in where you fit in. Because now you know, oh, payment history plays a part. Oh, credit cards, I need to handle it like this. Oh, I don't have enough credit history because I've only been using my credit for 2 years. Oh, I hadn't done anything recently. My new credit is off, so I need to da-da-da. Or my inquiries are too high. I've been applying for too much stuff. That's what's hurting my credit. Oh, I don't have mixture. I don't have diversification on my credit profile. So you'll be able to see which one fits your scenario, and it's going to make you a beast in credit and taking care of your own credit. So I hope that makes sense. You're no longer a dummy after watching this video. And if you still feel dumb after watching this video in the areas of credit, then I highly recommend you watch it again. Play it back, take notes, commit it to memory because it's going to help you in the long run. Mr. Smith signing out. Salute.